Hey, hypocrites, they walk among us. Let's analyze some different countries, different leaders of those countries. Iran, Iraq, pick a place, right? I mean, leaders in those countries, they say death to America. And guess what? They still have Twitter accounts. Process that. Tick, tick, processing now. I mean, come on already. Holy smokes. And breaking news, though, Trump, he's now suing Facebook and Twitter. He's saying, you guys can't do that to me. I'm a sitting president, or he was at the time. And how dare you, after years and years of big tech censorship, somebody's finally given pushback. And congratulations, Mr. President, get the job done. I mean, this is bad. Freedom of speech. What happened to that? Oh, it still exists as long as you say what I tell you to say, or I approve of what you say. Then you got freedom, don't you know? So America, you know what? They need to see the tax returns of a billionaire who became a public servant. Okay, but what really is needed here is America needs to see the tax returns of public servants who become millionaires while still being public servants. That'd be kind of nice to know, don't you know? Toronto, Canada, city council there are a whole bunch of whacks, a bunch of left-wing wackos. There's a black person there who said, hey, you know what? You people are all prejudiced against me, and I don't know how, because there's no white people left in Toronto, I don't think. Just saying. But all of a sudden, the white folk are bad folk, right? All of a sudden. It's been going on for a while. So they all got together and they said, hey, you're right. And they voted to rename a street, Dundas Street. It's been there for a zillion years, kind of forever and ever. And they said, we're going to rename it because we need to be more inclusive. Right? I mean, it's a prejudice thing, and it's a racial thing. Dundas, the guy, Dundas, he was from England or Scotland or someplace, and he was a racist, and it was a couple of hundred years ago. But you know what? I'm sure he was, so let's get rid of the name. And it's a big cost. They're saying it's going to cost upwards to $6 million. You can probably put a 1 or a 2 in front of that. It ain't cheap. And it's not just Dundas Street. There's a subway line, and the name is everywhere. Maps and Googles and on and on. They say, no, we're going to change it now anyway. You're going to start changing names because you did something bad, or you perceive that somebody did something bad. What about Frank? He said a bad thing once. Let's call him John. Boy, oh boy. Toronto has a commitment to confronting anti-black racism, advancing truth, reconciliation, and justice, as well as building a more inclusive and equitable Toronto. Y'all got that already. Stop it. They want a perfect world? Go to heaven. Oh, you guys, you left-wing wackos, you ain't going to heaven. Go to hell. I mean, you're going to hell, right? That's kind of what I meant to say. More than 50 churches. Depends who's got the count going on here. I've heard 20, 30, and now more than 50 churches in Canada have either been burned to the ground and or, vandalized in some way because of this thing that's been going on with regards to residential schools. And, a lot of people are saying, hey, burn them all down and serves you right. And a lot of kids were abused, I guess, but it's a Catholic church, and now they're burning down, or Catholic people, priests, inside of the Catholic Church. And now they're burning churches down. That's an act of terrorism. You're not supposed to do that. It's against the law. You're making a statement, and then you have people like the Prime Minister of Canada, is actually a Prime Minister, who says, you know what? I would support a criminal investigation into the discovery of hundreds of unmarked burial sites at residential schools. And then he's also expressed that it's not a big deal by his body language and other things, not a big deal to burn the churches down, right? This guy, you're supposed to be a leader. Who are you leading? Crazy people, maybe, kind of, sort of. But, firstly, there are Indian leaders who have said unmarked graves means that someone didn't care for the graveyard, and the headstones have just fallen away. It's been a lot of years and they're no longer there. They're not mass burial graves. And this is what the Prime Minister of a country is inferring, that you had this Hitler thing going on. Dig a hole and throw a bunch of bodies in there. That didn't happen. Didn't happen at all. People didn't just die in the schools that are in the graves. They had tuberculosis. I can't pronounce it. You know what it is. But TB. It was around then, and many other diseases and so on. And people died. People got buried. And is it a criminal act? I don't think so. And should the Prime Minister infer that it was, because that is what he's doing? Of course he shouldn't, but that's the liberal way. I mean, you know what? It's like guns. They have silence on violence, right? The liberal way, again, no praise or mention of a life saved by legal gun owners. Silence on violence. New wordage there that I came up with, but it does tell the story. I jumped from that over to guns. You're still with me, I'm thinking, right? Stick with me. Guns. Boomity, boomity, boom, boom. And the government in Canada And in other countries also, they're saying, let's take all the guns away from people who don't do bad things. They have this fixation. It's like a, wow, I don't know what it is. You need more education than me and better words to describe the craziness of all of this, but they never ever talk about someone who saved someone else or his own life with a firearm. Silence on violence. And in Canada, still talking about that, the Conservative government there, they send emails out all of the time, and they always ask for money. They never once say we're doing our job. They always say we want to do our job, send us money so we can. The most recent one is hey, help Canada's Conservatives bring accountability back to Ottawa and expose liberal corruption. Chip in right now to help us fund da-da-da. Don't you get paid already? I marvel at this. I've talked about it before. It just makes my head explode. You have a job. You need more money, I guess. You can ask for that occasionally, but send out one love little note and say we're doing our job. And we don't want anybody. That could be a PS. Okay, bats. A bat, you know what a bat is. They always turn left when leaving their cave. You can do a lot with that sentence, can't you? Work on that. Y'all come back here day after tomorrow. We're going to have more for you from the right. See ya.